Every major company understands a simple truth about us. We don't make purchasing decisions logically. We make them emotionally, then use logic to justify them later. That's why every color, every price, every notification you see has been carefully tested to guide you. Let's start with a classic. Imagine you're shopping for a new jacket. The first one you see costs $900. You immediately think, that's outrageous. Then, right beside it, you see another jacket for $400. Suddenly, $400 feels reasonable. Did the second jacket actually get cheaper? No, your perception changed. This is called anchoring. Your brain latches on to the first number it sees and uses it as a reference point for everything that follows. That's why luxury stores often put their most expensive items right up front, not because they expect to sell them, but to make everything else feel like a bargain. Here's another one you've definitely seen. You're buying popcorn at the movies. A small is $7, a medium is $8.50, and a large is $9. The choice seems obvious. For only 50 cents more than the medium, you might as well get the large. And that's exactly the point. That medium popcorn was never meant to sell. It's a decoy. Its only job is to make the large look like an incredible deal, steering you toward the choice they wanted you to make all along. Now, think about shopping online. You're browsing and a message pops up. Only 2 left in stock, or maybe sale ends in 3 hours. Suddenly, a decision you weren't planning to make today feels urgent. You feel like you might lose the opportunity. This is scarcity. It taps into a primal instinct. Thousands of years ago, scarce resources meant survival. Today, companies recreate that same feeling with limited edition products. Your brain reacts the same way it always has, with an urgent need not to miss out. Then there's the power of the crowd, or social proof. Imagine you're in a new city, looking for a place to eat. One restaurant is completely empty. The one next door has a line out the door. Which do you choose? Most of us pick the busy one, not because we know the food is good, but because we assume everyone else knows something we don't. This instinct is everywhere online. 5-star reviews, bestseller badges, testimonials, trending now. Your brain sees popularity as proof of value. It's why reviews often appear even before the product description. Companies also use tricks that feel like a good deal, like free shipping. An item costs $48 and shipping is $8. You hesitate, but then the website says spend $50 and shipping is free. So you add another item you never planned to buy. You spend more money to save money. But perhaps the most powerful strategy isn't a single purchase. It's convincing you to make hundreds without thinking. I'm talking about subscriptions. Netflix, Spotify, Amazon Prime. Once your card is saved, the decision disappears. There's no pain of paying, just an automatic charge every single month. The spending becomes invisible, and invisible spending is incredibly profitable. By now, you might be wondering if you really make your own decisions. The answer is yes, but those decisions are constantly being influenced by forces you rarely see. Businesses aren't just competing to sell you a product anymore. They're competing for your attention, and once they have it, they begin to shape your desires. But what's surprising is that even if all this stopped tomorrow, most of us would still spend more than we should, because some of the strongest influences don't come from businesses at all. They come from the people around us and from the person we see in the mirror. Let's explore why we're programmed to always want more.
Imagine you finally get the thing you've wanted for months. The newest phone, a designer bag, maybe even the house you've been dreaming of. The day you get it, you're ecstatic. You show your friends, take pictures. It feels like your life has genuinely improved. But then a few weeks or months pass and something strange happens. The excitement disappears. The phone becomes just your phone. The house becomes just your house. And before long, you find yourself wanting something else, something newer, bigger, better. Why does this happen? Because your brain was never designed to stay excited forever. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. It's a powerful force where humans quickly get used to improvements in their lives. What once felt extraordinary soon becomes the new normal. Think back to your first smartphone. It probably felt like magic. Today, you barely notice it. Not because the phone got worse, but because your brain adjusted. This isn't a flaw. It helps us focus on new challenges. The problem is, it means material things rarely provide lasting happiness. The thrill fades, and your brain starts looking for the next reward. And this is where the world we live in steps in. Companies know this. That's why there's always a new version, a slightly better camera, a slightly thinner laptop. Objectively, the improvements are small, but psychologically, they promise the feeling of something new. But an even more powerful force is at play, comparing yourself to others. Imagine you buy a brand new car and you're proud of it, until your neighbor buys an even nicer one. Your car hasn't changed, but suddenly it feels less impressive. This is called relative comparison. Thousands of years ago, it helped us find our place in a tribe. Today, it just creates unnecessary spending. Because we're no longer just comparing ourselves to our neighbors, we're comparing ourselves to millions of people online. Open Instagram or TikTok, and within seconds you see luxury vacations, perfect homes, and dream lifestyles. You're comparing your everyday life to someone else's highlight reel. You don't see their debt, their stress, their mistakes. You only see what they choose to share. And your brain quietly concludes, maybe I need those things too. This leads to what economists call lifestyle inflation. You get a raise at work, say an extra $1,000 a month, you tell yourself you'll save it. But instead, you upgrade your apartment, buy a nicer car, eat at fancier restaurants. A year later, you're earning more, but you don't feel any richer. Your lifestyle simply expanded to match your income. Marketers understand this better than anyone. They know people don't just buy products, they buy an identity. A simple t-shirt can cost $20 or $500. The function is identical. What are you paying for? The logo, the story, the status. A luxury watch doesn't just tell time, it symbolizes success. A sports car isn't just transportation, it represents achievement. You're not buying leather, you're buying confidence. And when we feel down, we turn to emotional spending or retail therapy. A bad day at work suddenly leads to online shopping. Buying something creates a temporary dopamine boost. For a short time, it works, but the underlying feeling is still there, so the cycle repeats. Stress, spend, temporary relief, repeat. The final question is the most important one of all. How do you break the cycle? Let's build a system that makes spending intentional instead of automatic. But here's the good news. Once you understand the game, you don't need more discipline. You need a better system. The people who are best with money aren't the ones who never feel tempted. They're the ones who make good financial decisions easier and bad ones harder. Let's start with one of the simplest techniques, the 24-hour rule. The next time you're about to make an impulse purchase, don't. Just wait 24 hours. If it's a big-ticket item, wait 48. Something remarkable happens in that short delay. The emotional excitement, that dopamine spike that makes you feel like you need it right now, begins to fade. Your brain shifts from asking, how badly do I want this, to, do I actually need this? You'll be surprised how many things feel essential today and completely unnecessary tomorrow. Next, let's talk about friction. Companies spend enormous amounts of money removing every possible obstacle between you and the buy button. One-click checkout, saved credit cards, Face ID payments. Every extra second of thought reduces their chance of a sale. So what if you did the opposite? What if you added friction? Delete your saved payment information. Remove the shopping apps from your phone's home screen. Unsubscribe from all those promotional emails. Suddenly, every purchase requires a little more conscious effort, and that tiny bit of friction is all your rational brain needs to catch up with your emotional one. Now let's flip that idea. While you make spending harder, you must make saving easier. This is where automation becomes your superpower. Imagine your paycheck arrives, and before you even see the full amount, a portion is automatically transferred into your savings or investment account. You never have to decide whether to save. You never wonder if this is the right month. You just build wealth quietly in the background. This isn't about having more discipline. It's about recognizing that discipline eventually runs out. Systems don't. Another powerful shift is to start thinking in terms of opportunity cost. When you see a $200 jacket, the real cost isn't just $200. It's everything that money could have become. If it were invested instead, what could it be worth in 10 or 20 years? This doesn't mean you can never buy nice things. It just means every purchase is a trade-off. Instead of asking, can I afford this? Ask, is this worth giving up what this money could become? That one question changes everything. And this leads to the most important point, your definition of wealth. Most people see wealth as expensive cars, luxury vacations, and designer clothes. But that's not wealth, that's spending. True wealth is much quieter. It's having enough money that you control your own time. the freedom to leave a job you hate, the ability to handle an emergency without financial panic, the opportunity to spend more time with the people you love. Real wealth isn't always visible. Many of the wealthiest people invest their money to buy freedom, not to impress strangers. The goal isn't to stop enjoying your money, it's to make your spending intentional. Every dollar you spend is a vote. It either goes toward a moment of temporary satisfaction, or it goes toward building the life you truly want. The difference between those two choices, repeated over decades, will define your financial future. It's about seeing the game companies are playing and deciding to stop being a customer and start being an investor in yourself. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the Wealth Blueprint. Every week, we break down psychology, investing, business, banking, and economics into simple, engaging lessons that help you make better financial decisions and build long-term wealth. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.